Today, I will show you how to secure storage using service endpoints on Azure platform. Now, first of all, let's create a virtual network, and I'm going to show you how to add a subnet to the virtual network and how to configure a storage endpoint, and as well as how to give a network security group to restrict and allow access to the public subnet. So let's create a virtual network. Click on the create button, and here give the resource group as lab3. Otherwise you can create a new one here itself, and then I'm giving my virtual network name as my virtual network, and then I'm going to go to the IP address section, where I'm going to assign the address space range. Remember, the whatever the address space you given here uh, will be considered when you try to assign public or private address ranges. When you assign a private or public address ranges, it should fall within this virtual network address spaces. And this is a very important point, and always remember it, because whenever you try to uh, give public or private address ranges to the subnet, you will find some overlap addresses that are beyond or lesser than the virtual network addresses. So always be clear whether address space what you assign to the virtual networks are not overlapping with the other public or private subnet virtual addresses. So you review all the details what you give to an what you given here, and then create the virtual network. Then go to the resource. Let's click on subnets. Here we'll create a subnet which is a private subnet, and as I said before, make sure the public and private subnets are not subnets address ranges are not overlapping. And also you have to make sure that both public and private subnet address ranges are within the virtual network address ranges. So when configuring the address space when creating a virtual network, be sure to remember this, because many people tend to forget these kind of issues, and which later becomes a very large problems. So be sure to remember those points, because if you neglect those, it could become a very uh, big problems whenever you are configuring a complex task. Now let me show you a network security groups and how to create them and configure them. So here give the assign the resource group as lab3, and give the name as my private NSG, my private network security group. Then review the details which you given, and then click on create button. And then go to the resource. Here I'm going to show you how to configure outbound security rules and inbound security rules. Outbound security rules means whatever the traffic here outbound traffic is known as the traffic that is leaving the network, which is going out of the network. So it is very important to configure whether our traffic is going to the internet or to the destination which we want it to go to. And here we are configuring it to go to our destination, which is storage. We are configuring it to allow the traffic to go from our virtual network to the storage. Here select the services as storage. Let me check where it is. Yeah, there it is, destination service type, that is. Leave the service as custom. Here under destination port ranges, let's give a star mark. Any port ranges will be fine. And action is keep it as allow, and priority let's give it 1000. Yeah, let's change this. Okay, let's click on add. It's gonna take some time. Yes, it's created. Now let me show you another outbound security rule where here we are trying to deny any traffic to go to the internet. So here we'll give the destination port ranges as star, and we'll leave the customer service, and we'll give the action as deny, as we are denying any traffic to leave from our from our virtual network. Let's give the priority as 1100. Let's click on add. Now I will show you how to configure inbound security rules. The inbound security rules basically involves any traffic that is coming to our virtual network from the external sources will be monitored and will be denied or allowed based on our predefined security rules. You are allowing only to the port range of 3389 and the TCP protocol, which is the port number 3389 is assigned to the RDP remote desktop protocol. Let's go to the subnets, and let me associate the private subnet with private network security group. As this private subnet the private network security group, the inbound and outbound rules what we went to this network security group will be associated with the private subnet, and we will do the same process for the public subnet. Here we're going to create a public network security group, and then we're going to associate it with the public subnet. Review the details and click on create button. Let's here let's add the inbound security rule for the public network security group. where we evaluate any TCP, where we allow that we allow the RDP traffic. Basically we'll open the RDP port and we'll allow the traffic RDP traffic to a virtual network as a to the public subnet. We will enable the remote desktop access. As I told before, we are going to associate with the public subnet, and later we are going to test this rule. I'm going to show you how we are going to test this rule. Now let's go to the storage account and let's create a storage account with file share. Give a unique name for storage account name. I'm going to give as file share 112, and under redundancy I'm going to select locally redundant storage. I don't need a geo redundant storage for now. You can just leave the default configured details and just click on review and create. Once you once you analyze the details you entered, click on create button. Once the deployment is complete, go to resource. Yeah, let's go under data storage. Click on file share. Then let's click on the create button. Once the validation is passed, so under connect, open this script and copy that script pane, copy that code. Later this code is gonna helpful for us to test the connectivity, whether the inbound and outbound security rules we configured works or not on the public and private subnets. We're going to test that by using this code. Under networking, under firewalls and virtual networks, enable from selected virtual networks and IP address. Click on that, and then under add existing virtual network, just select your created virtual network. Here I'm adding private subnet. Let's click on save. Let's give it a while. Yeah, it successfully saved firewall and virtual network settings. Yeah, now let's deploy the virtual machines. Here we are going to create the respective virtual machines, and we deploy into the designated subnets such as private and public subnets. First I'm creating private virtual machine, and then I'm going to deploy it to the designated subnet. Here let's select the Windows or 2019 data center, and the security type as standard. It's just standard level of security is enough for us right now. We're not doing any complicated tasks. Here we are selecting Windows or 2019 data center Gen 1, and the same image is also required for public subnet. No need to select any other Windows or other Ubuntu image. Windows will be suffice for now. Yeah, give a username and password according to the Azure security principles, and Azure username and password requirements. We should to follow those rules because it will help us to provide a strong username and password, which will helps to mitigate the attackers brute force attacks. Here under OS disk image, let's select standard SSD, and then let's go to the networking. You can leave the rest of the details as default. Here let's leave all the default details, and let's click on next. Let's view the management details. Yeah, you can leave those default details as usual, and let's review and create the virtual machine. Or you can disable the monitoring in the monitoring section. Yeah, be sure to also fill the confirm password. Here review the details and click on create button. Now let's create the virtual machine for the public subnet. The process is entirely the same what we did for private virtual machine. We're going to repeat the same process for public virtual machine, but be sure to give the virtual machine name as my public virtual machine, and the image is also will also be the same, which is Windows or 2019 data center. Gen 1. And for public inbound ports, check the box for allow selected ports. And you select the subnet as public subnet. Then review the details and click on create button. Once it is deployed, go to the resource, click on go to the resource button. Here under private virtual machine, click on the connect button. We're going to download a RDP file, and then we're going to execute that downloaded file on our machine. You can check it under connect. So once it is downloaded, click execute it. I told you to remember the password which you given when creating a virtual machine. So just enter that virtual machine password here. Click on yes. It is gonna take some time to connect. It is connecting via 3389 port number, which is a port assigned to remote desktop protocol, which gives you access to a virtual machine from your machine. You can connect remotely to that virtual machine. Open the Windows PowerShell, and I told you before to copy that script which you got under file share storage account. So once you copy that script, you have to execute on here on Windows PowerShell. Once you copy paste that script in this Windows PowerShell, it's gonna give you these details. You can test the connectivity, whether it can access the internet uh, from this virtual machine. I'm going to show you how to test that. Just give me a minute. Yeah, I told you to copy the script from this file share storage account under data storage blade. Sorry, under access keys. No, under data storage blade, you will find file share, and from there you can get the script code. Here under access keys, uh, you can get the connection string as well as a key. Uh, these connection string and key are will be useful in other kind of tasks, but for now we can just utilize the file share script which we copied earlier. Here let's test the connection, whether we can access the internet or not. We have assigned a private for private subnet. We have assigned an outbound rule that we cannot access the internet from our virtual network, so it probably gives us a denied access. So it probably gives us a fail to connect to the respective resource. Yes, so TCP connect to that following DNS resolution IP address has failed. Checking whether from port 80 or port 443. Once you check that, you can close that connection. Let's check for public subnet, for public virtual machine. The process is same of what we did to virtual private VM. Here same is for public VM. We're going to download that RDP file, and then we're going to execute it. We're going to open that. I'm going to enter that credentials. It's important for you to remember these credentials. Here copy that file share script, storage account script, and then execute on our public VM virtual machine Windows PowerShell. It's fine for us to get this error message. Here the access is denied because the public VM deployed in the public subnet, which doesn't have a service endpoint enabled for Azure storage. The Azure storage only allows network access from the private subnet, not the public subnet. Now let's test the connection whether we can access the internet or not. Yes, we can access the internet from the public virtual machine. Once you tested this all these connections, once you tested all these inbound and outbound rules, you can close this connection, you can close the virtual machine, and you can know that whatever the rules you configure, it is working, it is showing that it is working successfully. And after your work, be sure to delete all your resources, because you get cost incurred if you just keep running it. So once you completed your task, be sure to delete those resources. And also, when trying to delete the resources, try to delete the first individual resources, because there will be a resource locks enabled on some of the uh, resources you have built before, some of the services you have built before. So be sure to delete individually, and then uh, delete the once you completed the dependent resources, you can then delete the other services as a whole, other resources as a whole. Then you won't face any problems. So be sure that the resources logs are not configured for any of the resources which you have built. If they are configured, then try to delete those resource logs first, and then delete the resources next. This video has been part of preparation for Microsoft AZ-500 Security Engineer Associate exam, and I give I and thank you all for watching this video, and good luck for your preparation for the AZ-500 exam.